Good afternoon, good morning, good night. I'm Blackbright, broadcasting out of the UK, and I tend to talk about lots of different subjects. And today I'm going to talk about whether or not illegal immigrants have rights. The reason I thought about that is because I was trying to think of how I feel. I was thinking about one video I did, and I said I wasn't quite sure where my empathy should lie, because I can understand how immigrants become undocumented illegal, and whether or not that justifies them being treated in a way that is perceived as hostile, which is actually quite cruel. I mean, you're taking away their livelihood, forcing them to be destitute. Is that humane? And is that correct behaviour just because they're illegal? When you think about the rights of a human being, I mean, Maslow talks about the hierarchy of needs, and it starts off with your basic needs of housing and drink water and those kind of things, security, and it builds itself up to self-actualization. And when we think about basic rights of a human being, we need to think about the right to life, the right to housing, the right to a healthy diet, the right to work, those kind of things. And if those rights are being taken away, what does that say about the system? Do these people, just because they've overstayed and are trying to work and are trying to make a living, regardless of their circumstances, does it give them a right to be forced out and treated like animals, disrespected, have their dignity taken away? In America, they've got something called the Fourth Amendment, and it doesn't allow for unlawful seizures. You know, it's the equivalent of our stop and search or sus law. So you can't stop somebody and say, okay, I'm stopping you because you're driving too fast, and then use that as an excuse to detain them and try to find out whether or not what their immigration status is. They can't do that. Now they've got, I think they called it SB 1070, SB 1070. And a lot of that law in America was quashed. But they kept the show me your papers aspect of it. But even then, it needs to be done in a non-discriminatory way. And did you know, I mean, I'm using American law as a platform because a lot of what happens in America happens in the UK. But did you know that illegal immigrants are not allowed to be discriminated in the workplace? They should still be, they should still be paid for work. They shouldn't be stopped like how they're putting in place all of these systems to stop them from working. In fact, if they're not paid properly for a job, they should be able to sue for compensation. I mean, it is a bit difficult because, if the employer says he's going to kick them out or sack them, they'd have to prove it's discrimination. They'd have to prove the reason why they've got rid of them. But technically, they have rights, and their rights include being able to work. If they find work, being able to carry that out so that they can live and eat and provide a roof over their heads. So why isn't that happening? Why are they being treated and, forced out like animals? And I'm going to have to look into this law to find out where it is in the UK, because in America it's kind of quite cut and dry. I did this guy called Gregory, he's a doctor, Dr. Gregory Finkelson, he's the president of the American Corporate Services, and he's an immigration lawyer. He was having a conversation with California lawyer Akadi Itkin, who specializes in corporate law and has done so for 26 years. Now, what they were saying was undocumented immigrants have the same rights and recourse to the legal system as citizens. So I was doing a video about the Nigerian overstayers. I think I called it 29,000 is the UK deporting 29,000 Nigerians or something. But I remember listening to one of their the Nigerian representatives, and they said, have they exhausted all the legal routes? And it didn't click on me at that point. But that is the same thing. You know, these individuals are being denied legal representation. At one point, before it was denied, they had this deport now and appeal later, which was not allowing them to have their legal representation before they were deported. So there is something in this somewhere where these individuals, even though they're illegal in the country, have rights, human rights, and should be allowed to live, be protected, be secure, be able to feed themselves, be able to work, and they have a right to life and all those kind of things. Let me see. Yeah, because I was thinking about, you know, the stop and search thing. You know, we have them stopping and searching individuals all the time. And then they cart them off to the detention centre. And at that point, they start ferreting around and start looking whether or not they're, you know, about their immigration status. That's unlawful. They're not allowed to do that. Well, if they're not allowed to do it in America, I don't see how they're allowed to do it here, because we you know, we're integrated. We kind of use the same legal framework. So there's definitely something amiss. Anyway, the fact of the matter is every individual has the right to respect and dignity and to be treated as a human being. And when we start treating illegal immigrants, I know it's frustrating. I know they're in the country and they shouldn't be here for whatever reason. But we have to kind of think, you know, that they don't even have a method of working out how many illegal immigrants are in the country, because they haven't got an exit program. So when people come in, they're documented when they come in, but they haven't got any system in place for when they leave. Or they're probably working on one now. But my point is that where do they get all these figures from? These millions and millions that frighten, you know, all the voters and, you know, make people paranoid that we're being overrun by illegal immigrants. How do we know? It's just speculation. It's just half the time it's speculation. Half the time it's designed to put the fear of God in everybody. It's to make people blame someone else for what's going wrong in the country. That's what it's usually about. You know, it's to cause divide. It's divisive and it's destructive. And it's probably not even true. We don't know how many there are. And how do they know how many there are? They're speculating. And they're trying to blame immigrants or illegal immigrants on the fact that there's no jobs. When, you know, everything's been automated. If you go to Tesco, you get one or two people at the counters. All the counters aren't there, and Aldi and all of those. They've got machines now you can just scan through. You know what I mean? They've got all these shops, all these, you know, what do they call them, high street shops, where they haven't got people They're not using people anymore. They're just using, they're all automated. You scan yourself, you serve yourself. I went to the movies the other day. There was nobody there for me to ask any questions. If I want a ticket, I have to use a machine. So we need to have some balance here. You can't keep blaming the immigrants for taking your jobs when everything's being automated. I saw a program about Amazon. It's full of robots. They got robots doing all the work now. So there's a lot of automation and technology coming into force. It's not all just about illegal immigrants, and it should not be about abusing people and, you know, abusing your power, abusing your rights, abusing individuals for an agenda that you want to put forward just because, you know, the place is in a mess. Just be honest. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing more I can say. Bye-bye.